Kia ora. Good afternoon. I have just uncovered something quite interesting. Quite interesting. Bit of goss, possibly a scandal, but it certainly ties in with a lot of things that have been uncovered recently about old Golden Don, Teflon Don, thinking nothing's going to stick. Wow. So I've just been watching a tidbit about Warren Buffett giving his opinion on the fact that, because Donald Trump is going through all this court stuff and he's having all his bank accounts frozen, which is pertinent, and, they're repossessing Mar-a-Lago and that for unpaid fines. They're going through his finances. And they found out that he's got $4 billion in quite a few multiple offshore bank accounts in countries like China, the United Kingdom, Qatar, Ireland, Azerbaijan, and the Virgin Islands. And the Virgin Islands thing struck a chord with me because I remember when I was looking into the plane crashes and I uncovered some stuff about Elon Musk and how the Virgin Islands, had taken JP Morgan, the bank, to court because of activity to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And they had subpoenaed Elon Musk to hand over financial records in regards to Jeffrey Epstein's transactions on the Virgin Island because the Virgin Island weren't taking too kindly to these billionaires using the Virgin Islands to get away with committing sins against the pure and innocent, and then using their country and their banks and that to hide money to get away with paying taxes. So they subpoenaed Elon Musk, the Virgin Islands did, and made him hand over bank records and statements in regards to Jeffrey Epstein. So when I was listening to this YouTube about all the different countries where Donald Trump's been hiding billions of dollars, and the Virgin Islands came up, I thought, oh, that reminds me of the Elon Musk thing, because the Virgin Islands is where Little St. James is, the Caribbean and all that, and they were using the banks there to hide money, launder money in offshore accounts so that they didn't have to pay tax in America. And then I found a little interesting piece about a former Virgin Islands senator called Wayne James. He served one term as senator, and then he spent 30 months in prison for wire fraud. And JP Morgan and Chase shut his bank account down. And he said that he was taking them to court. And he said he didn't understand why they had shut his bank account down because Donald Trump had signed an executive order to say that you couldn't shut banks down based on a person's religion or political views or connections, obviously to cover himself and his friends, right? And then I started reading up about this Wayne James, reading the articles, and this is where it gets interesting. First of all, he was a fashion designer. He started out as a model for C&C Models, the Caribbean Couture Models Agency. And then he went into fashion design and he designed clothes for people like Princess Diana. And he says he thinks the reason why JP Morgan suspended his account is because of his connections to Jeffrey Epstein and his website that was a legitimate website called Sugar Daddy's Boy and that they said that, you know, he strictly says over the age of 21, that there was, you know, because of his connection to Jeffrey Epstein and all of that, he feels like JP Morgan, JP Morgan had targeted him and shut his bank account down to avoid, you know, his connection to Jeffrey Epstein on the Virgin Islands. So I looked up this Sugar Daddy's Boy Toys, and it looks like a few years ago it was a dating website where you could go, you know, for sugar daddies, for rich men looking for boy toys. So it makes me wonder about Keir Starmer, because remember the Queen said that he had money hiding in offshore accounts, and we know that he likes the boy toys, the Ukrainian models. Yeah. So I had a look, and it's a TV show that they're wanting to make, where they're asking for cast members and that who were in things like RuPaul's Drag Race, gay men looking for sugar daddies, and this Wayne James was auditioning for people, for gay men to audition to be on this show, Sugar Daddies Boy Toys. And I'm just finding it a little bit curious now that the stuff has come out about Donald Trump and Bubba, and apparently how he had, you know, his mentor and him were lovers. And now this whole, you know, Keir Starmer thing with the 3 model rent boys and stuff, and all of their connection to Epstein Island and Little St. James. This was stuff that the man had going on, that this Wayne James had going on during Trump's first presidency. And now he's had his money suspended because the Virgin Islands are trying to distance themselves from people using their banks and that, you know, to be tax havens, but also JP Morgan and Chase because, you know, they've been getting sued, and they've been having to answer for their connection to Jeffrey Epstein, because Donald Trump uses JP Morgan, Elon Musk uses it, Epstein uses it. I'm wondering whether Keir Starmer used it on the Virgin Islands to hide money in offshore accounts, while at the same time dabbling in a bit of the gay. Because the whole Bubba thing, like, you can't not think of it now. So this Sugar Daddy's Boy Toys thing, because he says, this Wayne James says, because of his connection with Jeffrey Epstein and the sex industry, he thinks that's why he's been persecuted and had his bank account shut down. But then it's the same island. It's like the Virgin Islands, Jeffrey Epstein, Elon Musk, sugar daddies, Donald Trump, this gay model turned fashion designer, his connection to British royalty and European royalty. He designed clothes for all of them all. There's no smoke without fire. And it looks like it was originally like a dating site. I found a couple of ones that weren't called Sugar Daddy's Boy Toys. When I typed that in, I got the auditions for the casting for the TV show, but there were ones that mentioned Sugar Daddy Boy Toys on dating websites. When you look at the logo, it's a man's appendage for the Sugar Daddy's Boy Toys. You know, a man's appendage. So there may have been more going on with the sugar daddies of the world on the Virgin Islands that involves more than just girls and children. And then because of the whole Keir Starmer 3 Ukrainian rent boy models, and Donald Trump's modelling agency and Wayne James's modelling agency. Yeah, interesting little circle. So now his financial records are being going through because he's got to pay off fines and lawsuits and stuff. They're cutting off his access to money until they figure out where it's all come from, where it's been hidden. Donald Trump, I'm talking about, and because he owes a lot of money, he can't even go into Mar-a-Lago without getting permission from the controller. He's not allowed access to his own home, and that he's all been stopped from having access to his money until they figure out where all the money's hiding. And it's $4 billion in various different bank accounts Donald Trump's got hiding. And it's just when they said the Virgin Islands, I thought, oh, that's interesting, because I remember Elon Musk, they made him hand over records in connection to Jeffrey Epstein and the Virgin Islands. And then when I looked into it, and this Wayne James came up, and he's like, but Donald Trump signed a executive order saying that you can't suspend someone's bank account based on their political beliefs or their religion, and that the only reason why I think they've done it is because my connection to Jeffrey Epstein and the sex industry, and his sex industry is setting up rich men with gay boys. Gay boys. So I'll put the links in the description box below. And because we know about Bubba, speaking of Bubba, yeah, I'll put all the links in the description box below. So is he... And then, because remember what happened with Tommy Robinson? Are they all gay? Is it the gay mafia? So, how embarrassing. Like, is Donald Trump and Elon Musk, are they sugar daddies to boy toys or something? Because they all seem to be lumped into the same island bank account. Just saying. I'll put links in the description box below. It's interesting reading. I'm just saying. It'd be quite funny. Gay Don. Gay Musk.